As a patent attorney, I see a lot of successful companies, and unfortunately, I see many that aren't successful and waste a lot of time and money. These are the common traits of successful companies. The first is having at least one founder who is a subject matter expert. And by that, I mean somebody who is an expert in the technology field that the startup is based on. And if you don't have a subject matter expert, I see this causing a lot of problems. The first is you're at a huge disadvantage in terms of developing the product, because instead of being able to, at least at early stages, develop it yourself, you're gonna have to hire outside people, which is really, really expensive. First, you're not gonna have a sense of how to actually develop it. You're not gonna have a sense of how to manage those people. And you're gonna be at a huge disadvantage compared to folks who start out with a founding team where at least one person is a subject matter expert and knows how to at least do basic development of the product. Also, if you don't have somebody who is a subject matter expert, your founding team probably won't really have a good sense of the market itself. People who work in the technology, they understand what people in the field really need and what they want, what is new and what's not. And it's going to be a problem if you don't have somebody who has that level of expertise initially. Another trait is having at least one founder who is business savvy. And I see this with a lot of folks who say, well, I'm just more of the idea person. I don't really like business. I'm not good at business. I'm not good at communicating with people. And any business is not going to succeed if they don't have somebody who can translate an idea or just the technology into a business or product. And I see a lot of folks fail in this, that they're really good at coming up with ideas, but they're not good at turning those awesome ideas into a product or into a business, and actually then selling that to investors, selling that to customers, and working with partners to bring that product or idea to market. So you need to have somebody who's a founder who is business savvy, who understands those things. Otherwise, the business is probably going to have some difficulties. Another trait that successful companies tend to have is founders who are all about continued learning. So being in a startup or starting a business, it's constantly about problem solving. And even somebody who has been through startups and who has started companies before is still going to have to face a lot of problems and is going to have to adapt and learn new things constantly and wear a lot of hats. And somebody who says, I'm just not interested in learning new stuff and that's not really fun for me, those folks are going to have a really hard time, because startups are always going to have to adapt and learn new things, learn new skills, and just beef up on the skills that they already have and constantly do so. Part of that is because the technology is always changing, the market is always changing, the way business is done is always changing. And if you're not able and willing to learn the way that new stuff is done, you're going to be at a huge competitive advantage. And that's why a lot of successful companies have people who are lifelong learners. Another trait I see in successful founders is what some people would call stick-to-itiveness or grit. And this is the ability to work through and power through adversity. So starting a company or having a startup, it is really, really difficult. There are highs and there are lows, and you need to be able to ride out those lows, which are going to be really, really difficult. Having your own company is amazing, but at the same time, you get to some really, really low points where people are against you. You get a lot of no's. You're not getting traction, and that is really, really frustrating. It's the people who believe in the company, believe in the technology, or are just so hard-headed that they will force their way through, those people tend to be successful. If the founders aren't the kind of people who are willing to just stick it out and fight and overcome obstacles, then companies aren't gonna be very successful. So if you and other founders are lacking in some of these skills, what can you do about it? So the first is you may need to spend some time leveling up your skills. So for instance, with technology, if you're not a subject matter expert, you don't have one, you're going to need to spend a lot of time becoming an expert. Learn as much about the technology as possible. That's going to be critical. Or maybe you need to level up your business skills, become a better negotiator, take some business classes. That's going to be absolutely critical. Also, you may need to bring on additional founders or partners and fill in the gaps that you may not have. So if you're the idea person, you're really good at technology, but not good at the business, find somebody who is great at business and who has stick-to-itiveness and who knows how to negotiate and do all those sort of things. Sometimes great founding teams are people who are complementary. You have the business person, you have the technology person. Also, keep in mind that, it may be better to not go ahead with the business. Sometimes you may have an amazing idea, but it just doesn't end up translating into a good product or business. And through your market research and learning about the business and technology and how it can actually translate into a product or service, you may realize, hey, this doesn't really make sense. Also, smart founders know when it's best to actually move on to another business or to another product. And sometimes this is going to be something that you'll come to when you're doing your market research. Again, maybe you have a really, really great idea, but you're not able to actually translate that into something that's going to be monetizable as a product or as a business. And that, yeah, it's a clever idea, it's awesome, but it's not going to make a successful business or product. That may be something that you'll understand as you do your market research. Or you may realize, look, I don't actually have the skill set to bring this idea or this product to market, but I can do something else, right? Just because you have one great idea doesn't mean that you're not going to have another. Stick with it, keep going, find another business or find another product that is a better fit for you. If you got some value out of this video, please give it a like because that helps get the video out to more people, and we will see you again in the next video.